Okay, first we're going to set the display options under menu item 47. And then we go to TimeCode and set it to TimeCode. Record settings. I'm going to go down to TC, TimeCode, go over to TimeCode, check the preset. Here's the preset, we're at 0. We're going to hit garbage can to reset, go back, TimeCode format, TimeCode run has to be set to free run. This makes it a continuous number when the camera is not on or not recording. So you have a continuous timecode running all the time in the background. So when you record, it stays in a chronological run. We go to our display of, down to display options in timecode, and we want it to be displayed as timecode, correct. Now we go back to camera settings. In the camera setting, we will go down to number 8, timecode. Go to timecode preset, we have it set. If you want to clear it, come like this, make it back to 0, whatever number you like it to start with, and hit OK. Go down to timecode make. This is where you're going to start the timecode clock on whatever your preset was. We hit this, we hit enter again, we go back to the front screen, we'll see it started over. We're at 15 seconds. To align all of these individual clips from each individual camera, we have to create a nested multicam sequence that spaces the clips from an individual camera with the appropriate gaps between each clip. With multiple clips from one camera based on the time code that was embedded into the clips from the camera. To do that, we will take this example of 4 clips, control-click, create a multicam source sequence. In this setting, we're going to call this Cam 1. We will use the time code. We'll make it a single multi-source sequence, and it will be with camera label. We will use the audio from one camera, camera 1. This creates over here the sequence of camera 1. When we drag this to the timeline, we can see that there is content here and with gaps in between. These gaps are spaced because the time code that was embedded in the files has spread it out on the timeline. As I scrub this, here we can see content. We get to these spaces, it's black. But all of the clips, in this instance, 4 clips, have been spaced out in one continuous sequence. Okay, now we're going to do this for our next camera. We'll take these 4 clips, control, click, go to create multi-sequence. We'll call this Cam 2 up here. This is just in custom Cam 2, naming the sequence we're creating. On timecode, create a single one, camera label, and the sequence settings will still be for this one camera. Although it's not called camera 1, it is just the audio from one camera because we're only using clips from one camera. Now here we have camera 2. Drag this over to the timeline, and now we have our 2 clips. Now here, what we need to do is we want to synchronize this collection of two clips. Let's open this up. So here we have a collection of clips from camera 2, a collection of clips from camera 1. We have the audio from those two. So what we'll do is we'll move camera 1 down the line a bit, because whenever we're syncing by audio, it moves to the right. So if you have a situation where you have multiple clips that you want to align in audio, you want to start with the track that you're syncing to, push to the right. Now we'll select these two clips. We'll hit Control, click, come up here to synchronize. Now this is the way you can synchronize all of the clips together based on audio in this instance, because we have some audio that I believe the software will be able to synchronize. We're going to do it from audio. If you do not have audio from the different clips that can be used to make an audio sync, you can find a visual frame from each camera that you can align. This needs to be one frame that was captured when all cameras were recording at the same time, focused on the same image. For example, a clap. We'll zoom in to the audio track and see if they are synchronized. Here you can see right here, I'll zoom in very close, and you can see our audio is synchronized. Okay? Now if we turn off one of these video tracks, we can look down below and see how the audio content is synchronized. Now what we need to do in order to make a multi-track where we can use the multi-track editing feature from going from camera to camera with this collection of clips, we need to make the start of these tracks all equal. So when we make that multicam sequence, we can do it from the start point of the clip. In order to do that, I'll take a piece of blank video, I'll bring it down to the timeline. I'm going to bring this over, slide it in here, and we'll zoom in. We want this to be precise, and we will add this piece of black video to this nested track so it's the exact same length, has the same starting length as camera 2 in this case. Now if we had multiple cameras, 3, 4, 5 cameras, we would need to do this to all line it up with the furthest left track, as in this case camera 2. So what we need to do now, we need to select this clip because it has two pieces in it. Control click, or we'll nest it, and we'll call this nest camera 1. There we go. Hit OK. This creates over here a nested sequence called camera 1. In order to keep our naming the same, we'll just go up here to camera 2. We didn't have to have any added black on here. And we will call this a nested clip also. For consistency, we'll nest it. Cam 2. Okay, now here we have two nested sequences, nested cam 1 and nested cam 2. All of the clips has been aligned with the timecode, and we created nested sequences that have the same starting point. Now we'll go to a new timeline. We'll take these two nested cams. We'll create a multicam sequence with both of these being synchronized. We'll call this camera 1 and 2. It will be based on the endpoints, since they both have the same endpoint. We cannot use timecode because the cameras, the two individual cameras, had different timecode. And we will use the audio from all cameras, since we have 2 of the cameras. And we'll say create. So now we have a new sequence called camera 1 and 2. We'll drag that over to our timeline. And when we go to this multicam editing, we can see as we drag the playhead over, when we have the option of 2 cameras show up, they are both in the When you are editing a multicam sequence that has multiple audio tracks that are associated with the multiple cameras, and you want the audio to switch with the cuts of the camera view, you need to go up to the sequence setting, go down to multicam audio follows video. When you do this and you make cuts from one video to the next, you will be switching from each audio. This is important if you have cameras facing different audio sources and you want that camera to pick up the audio source of the camera that you're cutting to. We have 2 synchronized videos, and here you can see right here that they are synchronized based on timecode. Let's move down the timeline a bit. So here we have, when we have one camera had no footage, we only have camera 2. Here we have that just camera 1. We can go back to camera 1. And so when you're editing in a 2-camera view, we can go back and forth from camera 2 to camera 1, and you can see that the clips are synchronized. There you go. Hope you enjoyed.